Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to show that off. How's everyone doing today? Liam Murphy back with another draft. Trying to take down our fourth best ball tournament, our third on DraftKings. People requested some DraftKings streams, so that's what we're doing tonight. Hope everyone had a wonderful Thursday. I just jumped in, so if you're not the best ball player in the world, you are welcome to jump in this room. If you are, hold off. You know, there's other rooms for you. Good afternoon, Scott. Yeah, we don't do as many streams on DraftKings just because, DraftKings is typically the tournament I fill last. For the simple reason I don't enjoy as much drafting over there compared to Underdog. It's just like a smoother experience. You got dark mode on Underdog. You got a lot of things going for you. But some people can only draft DraftKings, so we want to show them some rooms. Also, on the thesis of, worst drafters coming out later in the year, I think that thesis should be maximized on DraftKings, right? You're going to get some real insane folk just because their tournaments are usually bigger. They got access to bigger people. DraftKings recently added a best ball tab, which should really help their contest fill and take off. On mobile, at least they did that. It's got its own section, which is great. It's not just buried in the NFL one. And so as soon as this fills, we're going to rip this bad boy. One more. I got a couple free tickets from May, but I didn't get as many in as I wanted. I originally intended to get in the 25 just to get the 5 free tickets. Didn't happen. Best ball really took off this year. Yeah, it seems to be caught alive. Let's get it. I didn't have the chance to update my DraftKings rankings like I did my Underdog one. I've been manually scraping a lot of data to write some more articles on my best ball website, beatbestball.com. I'm very capable and I think good at analyzing data. The harder part for me is just getting the data into Excel. Some people just can scrape that coding. I'm manually typing, pulling a bunch of stuff. It's not fun, but it's what you need to do in order to do some research. Yeah, let the questions flow in here. Let's get to some of the news. So we got a little bit of news. One, I saw Kyron running at practice, which is kind of funny. I guess he's just doing that off to the side. Yeah, the CMC and the Justin Jefferson extensions, those don't really matter. But they are nice. There's some other things I wanted to talk about, but I can't quite remember them at the moment. It doesn't seem anything major news-wise has come. But okay, we pulled the 104. Hopefully I'll get Jamar Chase there. If not, I go Tyreek Hill. I'm happy with both of those. Liam Malik Neighbors, wide receiver 1. Almost certainly not, right? I like Malik Neighbors. I'm more willing than most to bet on a very talented guy who, some people comp him to Jamar Chase. We've got offensive concerns. I think on a PPR site, he could be a great, PPR scam where, they could literally run the offense through him. There's not a lot of guys you're competing with for touches in, let's do this. Not a lot of guys you're competing with for touches in the Giants. The running back room is not even inspirational, where it's like they're probably not going to be able to run the ball that often. And so he could just be peppered with targets. He could be like 10 targets a game, every single game, or higher. But we got major. Wow. I mean, we almost got 4 CMC at the 104. We will go Chase here. Not everyone has Chase as the 103, but I do. But yeah, we got major questions on the Giants' ability to pass for touchdowns. Like what's a good Daniel Jones year in the touchdown department? Which we don't care about as much on PPR, but we still care about touchdowns. It could be 25 touchdowns. Let's get into some of these. Thoughts on handcuffs in best ball? Kyron/Corum, Chubb/Ford. In general, I mean, I feel like we talk about this on almost every stream. I'm okay with handcuffs. I don't like to do it usually with like CMC and Elijah Mitchell, I guess that was a news item I was trying to talk about. It seems like Elijah Mitchell has got the edge there on the RB2, which was to be expected at this time of year. But yeah, I'm not as big as like handcuffing my first round picks because it's kind of like drafting with like the idea that they're not going to be successful. And I prefer to draft with the mindset of these guys are going to be successful. They're not necessarily the guy who's going to win you the tournament, but they're going to have good years. Of course, there is the possibility where CMC has a great year, gets hurt week 10, comes back week 15, Elijah Mitchell carries you for a couple weeks, gets you in there. Now you got a lower owned CMC. Yes, that's possible, but I prefer to do it in more ambiguous situations. So, like Jerome Ford and like Deontay Foreman. I think that's a fine combo where you're really not spending that much draft capital. Or Kyron Williams in the 3rd round and then Blake Corum, you're just locking up a really valuable room as long as Matt Stafford is healthy. So that's a better thing to me. Something like Zach Moss and Chase Brown, Zeke and Dowdle. Like I'm okay doing it there. But yeah, I wouldn't be doing it like Breece Hall and Braylon Allen because what if my guy gets hurt, right? I prefer to take the RB2s when I don't have the CMC. I don't have Breece Hall. That's when I want to take Elijah Mitchell because I'm trying to say my first round pick, you need Chase. You don't need CMC. And also CMC is getting hurt. So you need Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell plus Chase is way better than Elijah Mitchell plus CMC, right? In the event that CMC gets hurt, because now you have an extra first round pick compared to the CMC teams. Hit that like on the way in, folks. Absolutely. I am on the road to 5,000 subscribers. We're growing here. We're going to hit it soon. We'll do a giveaway of some sorts when we do. Doesn't Kincaid have a better chance to turn into Gen Z Kelsey than Laporta? I feel the same way. I recently did a high stakes draft, a 2K managed draft with my friend Tolan, who got 5th in drafters last year after watching a lot of my streams. He's a mod in my Discord. But we went Kincaid over Laporta. We went Kincaid over McBride because, yeah, I think if you're drafting for pure ceiling, the answer is Kincaid because he can be the number one on his offense. Laporta's not going to be the number one barring a St. Brown injury. It doesn't mean I don't like Laporta. I draft Laporta. But, he's got the quarterback. He's got a lot going for him. I don't take a lot of JT. Something else I don't like is on mobile, you can see. Actually, I think the number's up here. Pick 21. Yeah, I'm fine with JT here. I don't get a lot of him, so I prefer to get him as a faller. Of course, JT was on my winning BBM2 team, so we have to have a little brand loyalty. And he gets the Giants week 17, Pretty good. Like, they have a decent D-line, but if their offense is just so bad, that won't matter. Raspberries or blackberries? Raspberries, easy. St. Brown at 2? Yeah, I think it's fine just for uniqueness purposes. What's the main difference in strategy between DraftKings and Underdog? And how important are playoffs? Example, week 17 in DK. The main difference is DraftKings is a PPR website, meaning a points per reception, whereas Underdog is a half point PPR. So every time a player catches a ball, they get a point. In half point, they get half a point. What does this mean? It means that quarterback points are more important on Underdog. However, counterintuitively, quarterbacks usually get drafted earlier on DK. We're going Kyren Williams. I think if you're not drafting third round Kyren, you are a coward. We know the upside. I want to be getting a lot of third round Kyren. I don't go Kyren every time in the third, but this is a player I believe in a lot. I'm higher than the market. I think, Brees Hall's not practicing. He's not falling in drafts. But Kyren Williams, we got to drop Kyren in drafts. So look, does it mean, is he going to be guaranteed to be the same snaps? No. Blake Corum's more athletic than him. So maybe he even becomes the 1B. But we know for upside, Kyren's got it. A Kyren JT start is going to allow me to lean on the running backs. Kyren gets the Cardinals week 17, another nut matchup for running backs. And this might be a rare time, right? Like if reporting turns positive for him, he could jump back into the second round. And he almost certainly is not going to drop to the fourth. If he does drop, he's majorly dropping because we're getting news like Blake Corum is the RB1, So, anyways, on DK versus Underdog, they're both playoff week contests. And I really encourage you to look at the structure of these contests before you start drafting. But they both have playoff weeks. So week 17 is still equally as important. And you could argue it's even more important on DraftKings because the finals field is nearly twice the size. So very similar though. Okay to go away from ADP. Seems like I keep getting the same players. 1,000,000%. I recommend you read the free article I have on my website called CeeDee Lamb and the Case of Getting Unique. I'll drop that in the chat for you. This is a free article I wrote on beatbestball.com. And it kind of tells you about the benefit of that and writing about it. But yes, I don't think you should feel tethered to ADP at every turn. Am I taking a Gabe Davis level stand on Kincaid? Well, no, because Kincaid is a 4th round pick, 5th round pick versus being a 12th round pick, 11th round pick like Gabe Davis was that year. The market's also gotten sharper overall. Unfortunately, I was 100% going to take Kincaid at the 4.9 here. He goes at the 3.12. And I believe in the structural advantage of getting an elite tight end, especially for teams that advance, where I don't want to be so locked in on one player where if Kincaid rolls his ankle, I'm not getting the structural benefit. So I take Kincaid, I take Laporta, I take Kelsey, I take Kittle, I take Pitts. I've not gotten as much Andrews. I guess some of my Kincaid exposure is coming at the expense of Andrews. And I'm kind of okay with that because also a lot of other content providers love Andrews. So what's that going to do? It's going to, Andrews could be a great pick. Absolutely. Right. So I don't never take Andrews, but if a bunch of people are in on Andrews and they're touting it a lot, people are going to follow that. So maybe a less sharp, a really sharp crowd is you're going to be competing with for the Andrews selection. Good evening. Is the format of this tournament the same on DK? Pretty much. It's just bigger on DK. I can't bring myself to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. at his current price. I do. I draft him. I got no problem with it. I understand why you're hesitant, but I'm not with you on the hesitation. Okay, sorry, Topher. We have to go Kelsey here. I mean, Mahomes here. Not true. We're not doing that. Yeah, let's go McBride. McBride, I like a lot too. Should just be the second target for the Cardinals. Third-year player now. Won me the 5-5-5. Literally won me that tournament. And so now we got a couple brand loyal guys here. Jonathan Taylor and Trey McBride. Just tuned in. Who is the 101? CeeDee Lamb. This guy's got a CeeDee Lamb, Waddle, Deebo Samuel start. The 12 hole's getting cut out a little bit. I'll cut my picture out at the end if you want to see how the 1 hole, not the 12 hole. Wouldn't Andrew's ADP have moved if that were true? I mean, I don't know. Andrews goes in the 5th a lot. He goes in the 4th sometimes. There's only so much you can do about moving ADPs. I am more worried about this injury that Andrews had than Pollard. I looked into it a little bit today. I think they both had tightrope surgery from what I can tell. The thing that Andrews has over Pollard, though, is he got hurt in late November and Pollard got hurt in January. And then, like the severity of it, I don't really know. I also think, I don't think Isaiah Likely is necessarily just going to go away. Yeah. All right, we'll go Hollywood. Hollywood's drawing live to be a disappointment of a pick, but he's honestly a guy I've drafted every single year, and I've not drafted enough of him this year. I wasn't really drafting much Xavier Worthy when he was in the 5th at all either, but he's now fallen, where Worthy will now be available into the late 6th, where that's just simply more palatable cost. And I think the Chiefs' offense, unlike last year, is going to be significantly better, especially with how explosive their offense is going to be, because they went from guys like MBS and Justin Watson to Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy. Do you think tight end prices will rise with casual drafters in August? That's a good question. It's hard to get a pulse on what the casual crowd will do. I would say time has showed us, though, that they generally are running back people, the casual crowd. So quarterbacks sometimes even fall further as we go. And I mean, if running backs are getting if you're a casual guy doing your only draft of the year, you do one home league. Are you going to draft Kyle Pitts over Josh Jacobs? I don't see that happening. So no, maybe the tight ends fall, but it really depends, I guess, how other content providers, I don't think my rankings are moving markets. I think things I say on stream can move markets sometimes. Not intentionally usually, but I was drafting a lot of Kyron Williams last year. I'm sure I wasn't the only one. But then I saw him and I talked to him on a couple shows and I saw him going in every draft. So maybe that wasn't the best for me to do for my own EV, but it was how I felt. And so I don't know. Guys like ETR, they're market movers. So they just have a bigger player base, obviously. And okay, Kelsey went at the 3-6 here. Yeah, I've seen him go even at the 2-3 turn. Huge ADP fall for Jacobs. If you've not been doing a lot of drafts, I understand why you feel that way, but he is settling in here to the back of the 5th. And that makes sense to me. I was never a Jacobs over ETN guy. This guy, by the way, does not have the auto draft logo, so I don't know if he auto drafted him. But Jacobs is likely to be in a committee, which I don't see happening to ETN as much, you know? And I think like the absolute latest Jacobs can fall is like Ken Walker. Like that's kind of like the line. McBride is overvalued. Possibly. I don't draft him every time, but you know, he's shown a ceiling. He's shown an ability to get targets. I'm not dinging him for Zach Ertz starting ahead of him because he came into his own there. Let's go Rome Odunze, just a guy I like a lot. We need some wide receivers. Again, if they're going to give me a guy who went number 9 in the NFL draft, I'm higher than this on rankings. You're from New Hampshire as well? What's up, Chris? Live for your die. Jordan Love or Kyler Murray as your QB? You're talking about for the specific team, or? I think I'd take the fantasy upside of Kyler's rushing ability. That's when Arizona had nobody to throw to, so McBride is overvalued. I mean, I don't know how to tell you this, but have you heard of this guy, Amon-Ra St. Brown? Laporta didn't seem to struggle with having a guy. So there seems room for Marvin Harrison Jr. to get his own and Trey McBride to still be part of the offense and be fine. You know, George Kittle is a fine pick every year, and he's competing with 4 guys. This is something I've changed in my latest rankings, I think. So, yeah, getting Lad here feels good, especially on a PPR site. You know, Lad could be just peppered with targets. So through 5 rounds, we got Chase, JT, Kyron, McBride, Hollywood, Rome, Lad, McConkey. What's your thoughts on Keon Coleman? Everyone seems to hate him outside of Bills fans. I don't agree with your sentiment at all. I think a lot of people love Keon Coleman due to his press conferences. What I've said about Coleman is he's drawing incredibly live to be a huge disappointment of a pick where legitimately only having 500 yards is like in the range of outcomes for him. He's competing with a guy in his absolute prime in Curtis Samuel, 28, about to be. He's competing with a guy who, he's probably not the best real life guy, but was fine in Shakir. Kincaid could be the number 1 there. And so that doesn't mean I don't think Coleman is a good pick because I think he offers massive upside. There's also a potential where Keon Coleman, even if he isn't to start the year, is like a 10 target per game guy down the stretch, right? And that alone makes him worth it because he could definitely be an upside selection who starts slow. And maybe he doesn't even start slow, right? Like we know he has the ability to just be the number 1 in Buffalo. It's not the stiffest room to dethrone, but there's also downside. So just be aware of that. Should I? What do you guys think? Do you ever have guests on here or just solo usually? Figured I'd ask. No, I have a lot of guests, usually with, some people I know. Um, like, I mean, I don't know if you before Pat won BBM, he was like my most frequent guest. I had Davis as a huge frequent guest. You can just go through my videos. You can see I've had a lot of guests in the past. I haven't had as many guests this year. It's just harder to schedule. But I will be having guest streams. Does DraftKings typically drop any more lower stakes contests? I think, yeah, they will. DraftKings is pretty good about giving a lot of contest options, in my opinion. Why did this guy go Joe Burrow? Oh, because he was pissed off that this guy went Mahomes. And I tried to give him Mahomes. Yeah, let's go Moss. I like Moss. So our third running back correlates with Chase, a little bit running back wide receiver correlation there. Chase could be the guy who has a great year, and then Zach Moss scores 103 touchdowns against the Broncos week 17. Yeah, I mean, personally, like I really like Burrow this year, but I guess just a couple rooms I was in, I was seeing him fall to the 8th round, and that made me stubborn, being like, I want 8th round Joe Burrow. But I need to just get over that. Like, there's going to be teams that have 8th round Joe Burrow. So be it. I should just start taking him more in the 7th. But, it's hard to pass up like two highly drafted rookies on good offenses. Do you think the Ravens have a RB2 or just a bunch of guys? I've been betting on their rookie, which I'm totally blanking on at the moment. But we'll have in a second for you. I've been gambling on Rasheen Ali, 5th round pick, end of the 5th, occasionally. So Kyler goes, I guess. Why not? We would have taken Kyler here. And maybe I should have, but that's fine. There's plenty of other options. Yeah, I'm going to go Warren. And maybe even stop at 4 running backs. JT, Kyron, Moss, and Warren. Caleb Williams was in consideration, but we can figure out quarterback. This draft's pretty running back heavy, but it allows me to go maximum 5 running backs, and I could even stop at 4. And I think I have 4 really high upside swings. But yeah, Rasheen Ali is the guy who I've gambled on some as the Ravens backup. If Keaton Mitchell is healthy, I'd be drafting a lot of him because he's super explosive. And in some ways, he's kind of like Jeff Wilson the year I won BBM2, where I started drafting Jeff Wilson after he got hurt, knowing that he wouldn't be drafted a lot. Because, people don't draft hurt players usually. Problem is Keaton is getting drafted even though he's hurt. And we don't necessarily care if he is not the RB2 in September, as long as he is by, the playoff weeks. The other issue with Rasheen Ali is the last I heard he had a pec issue. So I don't even know if he's back on the practice field. And what I said about Justice Hill in my running back article is like, I mean, even with a J.K. Dobbins injury last year, the man only got like 80 carries. So what's the bigger take? Brian Thomas Jr. most rookie receiving yards or McBride more receiving yards than Harrison Jr.? I don't know. Started watching a few weeks back and just subscribed. Appreciate you, A-Rod. Welcome. How many tourneys have you won since you started drafting, and which tourneys? So I don't know what happened to the 33rd team. They I think like folded their fantasy department or something. I was getting $100 a month from them. So I used to work for them, but I've won 3 tournaments. Let's take a look at those while we wait for our picks. First tournament I won was BBM2. You can read about it here. You can see what I Googled there. My team this JT team. So I want JT, Aaron Jones, Jamar Chase. Did I drop for you guys? Wow. Jaden Daniels, what a gift. I don't know what's going on. Sorry, guys. That website, no shots at the 33rd team, but maybe that's why they went down. I don't know. I tried to open their articles and it totally apologies. Anyways, we got a gift from the heavens there in Jaden Daniels. No, everything was fine until I just opened up a bunch of tabs. Okay. If I knew I could get Josh Palmer and Justin Herbert, I would pass on Herbert, but I don't know that. So we're going to take Herbert and Daniels and be done at QB. Anyways, I was trying to show you my winning teams, and this time I'm going to do it, but I'm going to open one at a time. I think I was just doing too much on my laptop. I probably need to get a new laptop. No, I'm not doing this. I can already hear my computer not liking it. So I'm sorry. I will pull open those teams. Actually, I think I have them all in an Excel document somewhere, which will not be as frame intensive. I need to find a really old. Okay, here we go. These are my past winning teams. So for BBM2, we got the ring on. It was a 2-5-9-2. Josh Allen, JT, Aaron Jones, Jamar Chase, Amari Cooper, Christian Kirk, Mike Gesicki, Chase Claypool, Noah Fant, Damian Harris, Jeff Wilson, Rashad Penny, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Diami Brown, Cole Beasley, Justin Fields, Tyler Boyd, and Marcus Valdez-Scantling. Funny enough, Claypool and MVS are both Bills now. And I had Josh Allen that year. So how did I win? Well, Josh Allen had like 24 points. Jamar Chase had like 50 points that week. Amon-Ra and Rashad Penny both scored 30. Noah Fant caught 2 garbage time touchdowns, which I didn't even need because I won by like a lot. And then like just some point. Damian Harris had a fine week 17. My 5-5-5 team on DraftKings was a 2-6-9-3 with Mahomes and Geno Smith as my QBs. Saquon, Jerick McKinnon, Breece Hall, who got hurt, Khalil Herbert, Kareem Hunt, Jaylen Warren, which not many people were drafting Jaylen Warren that year, but I did once I got an edge, a hint there. Kelsey, McBride, and Njoku as my tight ends, and then DJ Moore, Christian Kirk, Deontay Johnson, Amari Cooper, Jameson Williams, Tyler Boyd, Zay Jones, and Michael Gallup and John Dotson. And like McKinnon went off that year's playoffs. Zay Jones was key down the stretch. Again, Breece Hall got hurt, so like my running back room was kind of ass. Saquon had a fine week 16. McBride caught 2 touchdowns from the dude who's married to an Olympian track person. He's a backup quarterback he was a backup quarterback for the Cardinals. I don't think he's in the NFL anymore. But I was drafting McBride that year in the 20th round sometimes, and he really didn't do anything until he scored 20 points that week and then was key to winning. And then that same year, I won the DraftKings 21-20 with a 3-6-8-3. Trevor Lawrence, Geno Smith, and Derek Carr as my QBs. DeAndre Swift, Dameon Pierce, Rashad White, James Cook, Michael Carter, Jerick McKinnon as my running backs. Devontae Adams, Christian Kirk, DK Metcalf, Gabe Davis, KJ Hamler, Michael Gallup, DJ Moore, Devonta Smith as my wideouts, and Logan Thomas, Tyler Conklin, and Mo Alley Cox as my tight end. Michael Gallup was also a wide receiver. Christian Kirk has been on all 3 of my winning teams. And Amari Cooper, Tyler Boyd, Jerick McKinnon, DJ Moore, Michael Gallup, and Geno Smith have been on 2 of the 3 winning teams. So those are the teams that won. Okay, we're on the clock here. Yeah, we're just going to take Taysom Hill. Huge upside. He's getting positive buzz. Any site that he's a tight end, you need to draft some of him. Scarecrow, who reminded me I didn't have 1080p, says thanks for the 1080p. Appreciate your super chat, Scarecrow. Winning a tournament with Chase Claypool is such a flex. Yeah, he was not good that year. Do they actually send you a ring for winning BBM? Well, what they actually did is they sent rings to the people who won the playoff contest that year. And so being me, emailed them and was like, hey guys, could I like get a ring? And they're probably like, is this guy serious? And then they sent me a ring. Yeah, I did close all my tabs. Okay. And then, yeah, Xavier Legette seems fine. We need to get wide receivers. A first-round pick. Might even be quarterback proof if he's like good in the yak department. Bless my dad. He like sends me emails of NFL news as if I'm not like chronically online and like plugged in the NFL. And it'll always be like a week old. Love him. Love the guy. David Blau. Yes, you're right. David Blau threw a touchdown to Trey McBride against the Falcons. And I targeted Trey McBride because of his weak. Like, I target certain players and offenses because I like the defenses they play week 17. That's a micro edge I am trying to grind. How much normal is best ball rankings versus your normal 12-team PPR, 2 wide receiver, 2 running back, 1 flex league? Kind of depends where you're drafting, but like on Underdog, like, you know, in your home league, it wouldn't really be that surprising to see like Isaiah Pacheco go in the second round because someone's going to be like, Chiefs starting running back, let's go. In best ball, you just need to start 3 wide receivers every week. So wide receivers really get steamed up amongst people who know what they're doing usually. He sleeps with these under your pillow every night. I don't know if you're talking about the print. Yeah, I print out the teams, and I actually make my girlfriend recite the players to me. Just kidding. Do you look at combos of your late round swings with your early round stands? I don't. You know, honestly, like I do enough teams, it's going to get differentiated, and I'm going to know. Like, it's going to be obvious to me if I'm always going, like, if I was always starting drafts, say, Chase and Nico, and then I was always pairing them with, say, Braylon Allen, like, I would just know that. And I would either be comfortable doing that or I would differentiate a little bit. All right. Since the stream dropped for a second, our team is Jamar Chase, Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams, Trey McBride, Hollywood Brown, Roma Dunze, Ladd McConkey, Zach Moss, Jalen Warren, Jaden Daniels, Justin Herbert, Taysom Hill, Xavier Legette. So 2 high upside tight ends, 2 high upside QBs, 4 running backs are upside. I think you can say my wide receiver room is the thinnest, if anything. But, I mean, we got 3 the fringe first round picks. We got a piece of the Bengals. We got a piece of the Chiefs. So I like how the team's coming together. Our week 17 correlation isn't major by any means. We do have Warren and Hollywood. We do have Kyron and Trey McBride. So far. Is this site best ball? You mean DraftKings or beatbestball.com? Check out beatbestball.com. Okay. Not a huge reason to be greedy here and take Malachi and hope McCaffrey's still there. So I'm just going to take Luke McCaffrey to stack with Jaden Daniels. I still think it's so possible that Jahan Dotson could be moved to the 3rd wide receiver. Yeah, this is a best ball tournament. It's DraftKings version of Best Ball Mania 5. I recommend you read the structure. On my earlier streams, I already read through this, so I'm just not going to read through the structure every time. Sorry. How much did winning Best Ball Mania affect your life? I would say a lot. I'm not like different as a person at all. Like people that know my friends would say that, you know, but obviously having a significant windfall changes anyone just as far as like what they can do. Okay. I'm taking Kamani Vidal, which I think is a risky selection. I read this out literally last stream, so I recommend you check it out. I also tweeted my section on the Chargers running backs from my article. The rest of those articles behind a paywall. Only $99 for the whole year, though. Literally the whole year. Not just the summer, the whole year. But I mentioned, I already read the section on Kamani Vidal, and you can check out my Twitter at Chessleon. But, I think he has a lot of upside. It's just he's drawing so live to be an utter zero. Why am I taking him? Because I have Justin Herbert, so I'm stacking pieces of the Chargers. He's going to be the last running back we take on this team. I don't really feel the need to go 3 QB or 3 tight end. I could just for cover your bases reasons, but I might just prefer the extra darts at wide receiver. Might go 3 tight end just because that's a more variant position compared to quarterback. And if there's a quarterback that stacks, it makes sense. If Bryce Young's sitting there, I guess in the 19th round, I'd consider, but he probably won't. Yeah, Taysom is a tight end on DraftKings and Drafters. He's a quarterback on Underdog, and your guess is as good as mine as what he'll be listed at on the FFPC because they do their own thing. No, FFPC does have best ball, but they also have managed. At what rating would you consider the Budapest Gambit is no longer an effective opening to use? Probably 2200 USCF. I think literally any opening is fine below master level, but I would encourage you to play, unless you really love the Budapest, I would encourage you to play some more solid things, just some more normal things, which will probably speed up your learning. Yeah, and appreciate you all being here. Please do like the video, subscribe to my channel. I'm on the road to 5K subscribers. And check out my site, beatbestball.com. I don't think I'll have a stream tomorrow. I'm getting floors put in, and they're doing my office tomorrow. So I just don't know if I'm going to be able to. If I am, though, I think Davis is going to come on. Yeah, Taysom's not only listed as a tight end, but he's getting positive buzz and has one of the highest ceilings of any player, not just a tight end. Yeah, I think with I'm definitely going to go 3 tight end, having Taysom. With Taysom, he's not a guy to consistently count on. He wouldn't be a good pick in managed, right? You would never have the confidence to play him in a given week unless you knew he was starting as quarterback or something, or his usage really changes. But he's a great guy to have alongside an elite tight end. And he's a great guy in a 3 tight end room because who cares when he scores 0? You just like the weeks where he hit in your lineup scoring 20 plus. And yeah, let's go with another real high upside tight end in Isaiah Likely. So we got our steady Eddie in McBride, who also has a lot of upside, right? McBride could be tight end 1 this year. That's in the range. And then you got Taysom and Likely, who are 2 really high upside swings, but quite low floors. And it's kind of nice to layer in that combo together. Likely could be he's of course upside if Andrews gets hurt. He's also he might not even need that. Taysom will have 3 touchdowns week 17 against the Raiders. Could be. I'm the one who originally sounded the alarm for Taysom Hill, actually. I'll need to go find that podcast. But after I won BBM2, I had COVID right at the start of May. And then I went on a podcast with Fantasy Points. And then I went on a podcast with Davis Maddock. And on both those podcasts, I mentioned Devontae Walker, welcome to the team. I mentioned Taysom Hill. And once I told Davis Davis is the one who like spread the word to everyone. So like I told Davis, I was like, yo, man, Taysom is a tight end, could be playing QB. And that clicked with Davis. Of course, he has a bigger platform, much bigger at that time, but still bigger. And so that's what got Taysom from like my lips to everyone's ears. So we got 5 rookie wide receivers. So rookies in general are just good bets in best ball. You know, some of them are going to be slow producers. I would have loved to get DJ Chark the next round, but he goes here, just to add to my Herbert stack. It's possible Likely is the third most talented pass catcher, 100%, right? Like, okay, you got Nelson Aguilar, you got Bateman, who's getting a lot of buzz, but like, let's see it, man. You got Nelson Aguilar, you got Devontae Walker. And so we'll see. We'll see what Likely got. He was productive when he hit the field. Might try to get some veterans with these picks, just in case my rookies are. So like, I don't think Leggett will be necessarily a slow producer because he's kind of like, he has to be at least in 3 wide receiver sets, like from the get-go. Ladd also shouldn't be a slow starter. I don't really think Rome will be that slow of a starter either. So I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, I think I'll just throw these last 3 picks into wideout and go with 2, 5, 10, 3. Bryce Young is gone. Daniel Jones is gone. Fields is gone. Who else is even left? May is gone. Yeah, it's like the Aiden O'Connell experience or no one. And Daniels offers you really high upside, questionable floor, and Herbert should be steady and still has upside. What do you think of Josh Reynolds in the 18th? I'm really only doing that on Bo Nix teams and or occasionally on like Bengals stacks, which I do have Bengals pieces here. But yeah, he's a fine guy to mix in. I think Tim Patrick is a little fly in the ointment though, where he's been injured the past couple of years, but he's still on the team, And he can't be a smash by definition, He could spike at the right time, but he can't be this like 1,500 receiving yard guy. Not that many people are. Do you think Luke McCaffrey works into 3 wide receiver sets in Washington? Who would be ahead of him in 3 wide receiver sets? I think it's possible he's in 2 wide receiver sets. Yeah, okay, we'll go Jalen McMillan. He got a little bit of buzz, another rookie pick, and then we'll try to get 2 vets. Patrick's had hype the past couple of years. He got in the finals tonight. Not a big basketball guy, especially now. I watch like less than I ever have, but I'll go with the Celtics. Everyone loved Tim Patrick. Yeah, but he got hurt in back-to-back years, yes. But he's still on the team. Like, what if this is the year, I'm not drafting him, but it wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world to be like, okay, he's finally healthy, and everyone was right. He was good. You need some deep cuts at this point. Trey Tucker. Welcome to the squad. Second-year player. Showed a spike week ability, kind of like that MBS type dude on the Raiders, which is probably not our favorite thing in the world. Even got some rushing attempts. Correlates with Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill, 2 rushing touchdowns. Trey Tucker, 2 receiving touchdowns week 17, $1.5 million in the bank. Thank you very much. He won't be drafted a lot and almost never in the 19th round, so we're getting some uniqueness there. Really don't like, by the way, what this guy's done. Wandale, Hyatt, and Campbell. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I forgot that Campbell was no longer on the Giants. This is fine. If Campbell was on the Giants, though, it's not good. It's just not a valuable enough room. But it's fine with him being an Eagle. Sup, Liam? Why doesn't DraftKings cancel drafts like Underdog? I mean, they used to not do that at all. And I would even email them some. But I don't think that's true anymore. I think they do cancel them. I just think, unfortunately, they don't take it as serious, like the integrity of the contest from my perspective. But I have heard of drafts getting canceled. So I don't know about that. They used to email you back and be like, everyone has their different decisions and opinions. And I'm like, but my brother, they took Chris Manhertz in the first round, Do you think Trey Palmer has any upside as the third in Tampa? Well, I'm hoping it's Jalen McMillan, and I would not say Jalen McMillan getting drafted is good news for Trey Palmer at all. They also just signed Sterling Shepard. So that's also bad news. So, I mean, could he be a deep threat guy who catches some balls if he is the third? Yes. Are there questions if he is the third, though? Yes. Tampa could also be a team who, if they are dead by the trade deadline, they could for sure trade Chris Godwin or someone. They won't trade Mike Evans, but Chris Godwin maybe. And then that gives, opportunity to the other guys. Which Philly wide receiver rookie do you think wins the slot role? I really don't know, man. I need to get some news bumps there. They're both interesting. Both the rookies are interesting to take a stab at. Even Michael Gallup's getting drafted. I might draft Brendan Rice. It's thin. But crazier things have happened. I think he's landing in a great room to possibly see the field. It's just really thin though. Yeah, we're gonna do. I also like this. Ryan Flournoy, I think is fine to take a gamble on. MBS is gonna give you some points this year, but we're gonna do Greg Dortch this time. Add to our little bit of Arizona thing. So that finishes our team with Jamar Chase, Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams, Trey McBride, Hollywood Brown, Roma Dunze, Lad McConkey, Zach Moss, Jalen Warren, Jaden Daniels, Justin Herbert, Taysom Hill, Xavier Legette, Luke McCaffrey, Kamani Vidal, Isaiah Likely, Devontae Walker, Jalen McMillan, Trey Tucker, and Greg Dortch. I like how the team turned out, to be honest. I got a lot of wide receivers that are rookies, which will, by de facto, there's some upside potential there. I got a good core 4 running backs plus a 5th who is potentially an upside swing. I got upside at tight end and QB. Yes, only 2 QB. Some people like to go 3 always on DK. I'm willing to go 2 if I like the 2, which I do in Herbert and Daniels. And yeah, I like a lot of the week 17 matchups for my guys too, right? Hollywood against Pitt could easily go off. Chase and Moss against Denver, great matchup. Kyron against Arizona, great. JT against the Giants. I think the Giants defense got better, but again, the offense could struggle. So overall, like the team. Appreciate you love what the 12 hole did. All right, we'll take a. I don't usually review every team, but he went Gibbs, Ayuk, Kincaid, Pittman, Richardson, Worthy, Johnson. Yeah, I mean, some of these players I'm into as well. Seems fine. Stacked up Denver. We'll see how that goes. I think they built structurally well, though, overall. I'm not going 3 tight end, though, personally, when I go Bowers and Kincaid, although I get it when you have Bo Nix. Appreciate you all being here. Again, I don't know if I will be streaming tomorrow or this weekend. It depends on if I'm able to get in my office here. Probably will be at least by Sunday night. So make sure you join my Discord. Link to join is below in the description. And appreciate you. See you next time.